Good morning. My name is Jansen, and the purpose of this presentation is to look at the case study for assignment 4. We're going to do a quick overview, and then I'm going to give my suggestions to solve the overall problem, which in this case study was we were taking two teams, a disk drive team and a fiber optic team, team A and team B. We were comparing and contrasting their overall performance. Before I get started, just a couple of key details I want to get into about this case study. This case study is taking a look at an organization called Metronome. Metronome is a large manufacturing organization that creates semiconductors. So key factor with this company is that they are operating in the tech world. And we'll get into why that's important in just a moment, but they are a large manufacturer of semiconductors in the tech world. This company requires two different types of employees. They require design engineers and they require product engineers. This is really important to understand because this means that in their company, they have to be able to balance two types of jobs because design engineers are dedicated to creating products that are seamless to the customer, have all the bells and whistles, are the best product that they can be, while product engineers they still want that, but they also have to think in terms of financial availability of the company. So can I afford to make this product in that way? Can I get the materials needed? Can I do it in a way that's efficient? Can I create this product in a way that's going to make money or lose money? So sometimes what the design engineer and the product engineer want, they clash. So this company has to be able to navigate those roads. Another important thing about the tech industry is that you often have to go out on a limb. You want to be the first one with this new piece of technology. You always want to be on the cutting edge. Technology is always evolving and advancing, and so to be in this tech world, you always have to be on the cutting edge of that technology, which means that you're going to take risks. When you take risks, sometimes they're not going to pay off. So the very nature of this business means that they have to be more tolerant of failure. And then the last thing I wanted to note about this case study is that we were taking a look at two separate teams. The first team is the disk drive team. Now, this is throughout this case study, they were the ones that were the model of high performance. They were the ones that were hitting their goals and doing things correctly, while fiber optics is the team that's in disarray. They are dysfunctional. There's a lot of problems with fiber optics that we'll get into in just a minute. And so the purpose of this case study is to identify those problems and then to come up with solutions to get the fiber optics team up on the same level as the disk drive team. Taking a look at the two teams individually, the first one we want to observe is the disk drive team. When you have a problem and when you have two teams and a problem with one, first thing you want to do is take a look at the one that's performing well so that you can get an idea of what success looks like and what they're doing to get there. So the first thing that I noted was that this team has a very clear and identifiable goal. I also put purpose because when they go into work every morning, they know why they're there. They have this goal. Their whole reason for being at work is to hit this goal. And the quote that I took from the case study says using that this is their goal, which is using its first generation new chip to secure a position in the market and developing a subsequent generation to achieve profitability. So they've created this new chip, and so what they're trying to do is to gather market position and be the top performer in the tech industry. And then once they've achieved that, they want to take that a step further and create subsequent subsequent models of this new chip so that they can continue to stay on the cutting edge, continue to maintain market position. Another important thing about this team is that they use their failure as motivation. And this is really important, and it actually shows a team is working well when they are able to walk away from failure learning something. It's not that they're walking away with their head hung low, disappointed in their performance, but rather they're walking around with their head high, held high, because they know, hey, this didn't work, but I know what to do in the future because I learned something from this. And that just shows that they're operating with full confidence. When you're able to operate in a way, um, when you're able to operate in a way that doesn't penalize, at least penalize heavily for failure, then you can go take these risks. You can go out on a limb, and you can make mistakes without fear of penalty, which will boost your confidence. As well, this team has its performance very closely monitored. The executives of this company are very highly involved, with their performance, which just goes to show that they have motivation because the executives are there. They're giving them guidance. They're, um, encouraging them when things are down and praising them, when things are going well. And the last thing that I put on there is that they have a clear and identifiable end goal. Um, they want to create this new chip and they want to do it quickly, which adds a little bit to that motivation because not only do they want to meet their goal, but they want to do it quickly. Because if they fail to meet that goal, they can still do it, but they have to wait an entire another year. And in the tech industry, if you wait a whole year, things will have developed and evolved to a point where the product that you have ready in a year may not be on the cutting edge anymore. So they want to make sure that they get this done quickly. The fiber optic team, on the other hand, does not have a clear purpose. They don't really know why they're going into work, which is going to lead to a lack of motivation. Um, and a very big part of their inefficiency is that they don't have confidence. They also don't have work value. When you don't have a clear goal, a reason, a purpose for working, and you don't have confidence that you're doing the right thing, then you're going to be confused and disheartened when you go to work, which it means you're not going to have a good work value. As well, this team does not have clear leadership, and this is both executive and, within the team. In fact, since there was no clear leader identified, multiple people have tried to take over that leadership position, but all of them have failed, which would deteriorate the unity of this team, which is that last point there. There's no unity. One thing that we talked about this week was the importance of understanding both the means and the end that you need to get to. This team really doesn't have either. They're walking around rather aimlessly, which is not a way for a team to operate. And a lot of that falls on top level leadership. I put a couple things on this slide of things that the executives have failed to do. They have failed to clearly design both teams. One team, they did a great job, but the other team was just kind of almost as if it were an afterthought. It's like, we've got this team and this is my baby, and I'm going to make sure that everything with this team gets done correctly. And oh yeah, we need this team to do some stuff. But it's not very clearly identified, and this team is walking around without a purpose, without an ends, and without even means. So they really don't know what they're doing, and that falls on the shoulders of the executive team. They also haven't given both teams the same resources, or, by the way, the same attention, which is a really big deal because disk drive is very closely monitored. And like I said earlier, that means that the executives are highly involved. If there's a problem, they're jumping in to help fix it. If they're doing something wrong, they're there to point them in the right direction. When, they're doing something well, they're getting that praise. Fiber optics doesn't have that, and that falls on the executive shoulders. They're not giving them. While it's okay to give one team more attention per business needs, they're not giving fiber optics any attention, which leads to disunity and inefficiency in that team. Last thing that I put on there is that they have failed to create, the same workplace atmosphere within both teams. One team has a great workplace atmosphere. The culture there is great, Everybody is striving to do well, and they've got a purpose and a goal, and they are hitting these markers. Fiber optics isn't hitting any markers, but quite frankly, they don't know what they should be striving for because leadership has not done their job. So taking a look at the problems within the team, I wanted to note three major problems that I found. The first thing was that there was no clear purpose. I mean, we've kind of talked about that already. If you don't have a clear purpose, if you don't know what you should be striving for, then you don't have a reason to walk into work in the morning, which means you're not going to be motivated, which is that third point there. They don't understand the ends that they're supposed to get to, and they really don't understand the means that they're supposed to take to get there, which means they're lacking both spectrums, which is rare, but it leads to complete inefficiency of a team. And the third thing that I wanted to put on there is that there's no clear accountability, and that's both the executive team. There's no accountability with them. There's no leaders in within the team to hold each other accountable, and also just the company culture leads to lack of accountability for actions, which is okay for disk drive given all the other success factors, but in a team like fiber optics, this lack of accountability just adds to the chaos. All of that detracts from the success of fiber optics. But the biggest thing that I noted, as far as why this team was not performing well, it just goes back to that leadership. This team lacks leadership, and a big part of that is they don't have any team leadership. There's no one in the team to lead and to create direction and to help see the purpose and to help identify the ends and identify the means. There's none of that. And a lot of that does fall on the executive leadership, as we've discussed, which is my third point there. But within the group itself, if you don't have that leadership, you see what happens. What happened with fiber optics is people try to take over that position, but when they fail, they walk away disheartened, and the team walks away disunified because some people would have been for it, some people would have been against, and that leads to rifts. And it also leads to lack of direction because multiple people are going to want to go in different directions, and there's no one to unify. So the team isn't going to work as one complete unit. One thing I did want to touch on before I gave my final suggestions on how to fix the inefficiency of this team was just take a look at accountability and the pros and cons of this type of environment, because this does either enhance, as we see in this disk drive, or detract, as we see in fiber optics, from the overall success of the team. On the pro column, this really leads to good workplace culture if done correctly. We see this in the disk drive team. When they failed, they use it as motivation. It's a learning opportunity. It gives them motivation to take risks, to jump out on a limb. And when you take these risks and you're successful, that's going to boost your confidence. So you're walking around more confidence, which in turn enhances workplace culture. It kind of builds on itself. It's a repeating cycle. But in a team like fiber optics, where there's no real leadership and they're just kind of walking around aimlessly, when there's no consequence for actions, they kind of just can do what they want. And really, there's no motivation to try hard, because if you fail, so be it. If you don't have a goal to hit, then if you make a mistake, it's fine, because what does it matter? With disk drive, if they failed, they weren't going to lose their job, and the company was behind them, which gives them confidence. But they also knew, I might not hit my goal, and that was the reason that they were coming into work every day. So they're going to try harder and keep pushing to hit that goal. So no accountability for as far as creating new products and failures and testing can be a very good thing, or it can be a really bad thing depending on the team in question. One thing that I wanted to talk about just from my own experience is the importance of purpose. This is something that this executive team needs to introduce into fiber optics. Because Simon Sinek put it this way: people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. In other words, people buy into your purpose. And if you don't have a purpose, then nobody's going to buy your product. And this purpose that we come in to work with, it's going to bring motivation for me to do my job every day. I know why I'm there. I know what I'm doing it for, so I'm going to keep doing it. If I don't have that, then what's really the point of me working? Um, and a really important thing about Sinek's comment is that when people buy into your purpose, you need to make sure that all the employees are unified. Not having a leader in that group means that no one's vocalized or made a decision on what that purpose is going to be. So each individual is going to be operating under a different purpose, which is going to lead to complete disunity and inefficiency within the team. And it's also important that both the means to how you're going to get there and where you're going to eventually get to play a large role in creating this purpose. Now, one thing that we learned from the reading this week is that if you give somebody an end, very little means, that can be very beneficial, because they know what they want to do and you're not micromanaging, which gives them freedom, and also it gives them responsibility, which will help them create purpose, and they will take on a sense of responsibility and a sense of ownership. So they will strive to do things well because they want to get to that end. However, if you have means but you have no ends, it's very dangerous because there's no motivation for me to do anything. I just know this is what I'm supposed to do, but I don't know why I'm supposed to do it, which makes me feel very unmotivated and very confused as to why I'm even doing it in the first place. So as you create that purpose, you need to keep the ends and the means in mind. So my final suggestions for this team are, first of all, get the executives involved. Every time change starts within a company, it starts in the top and it works its way down. If you start change down here, it's not going to make its way all the way up. So change needs to start at the top and needs to go all the way down. And they also, the executives need to identify the ends, and they need to at least slightly give them direction on the means they need to get there. They don't need to micromanage. That's not the job of an executive, but the executives need to identify that and give the team purpose. They also need to define leadership within both executives and team leadership are very important. So we need to get this top level leadership involved, but we also need to get the team leadership involved. Someone needs to help run the team, be the point guard for the team. Everything needs to flow through this leader so that everybody's working as one cohesive unit instead of everybody kind of off doing their own thing. This clarity will help engage the employees because now they're not confused. I know what I need to do. So it's up to them whether they're going to do it, but they're no longer walking around like, I don't really know what I need to be doing, because they know what they need to do now. And they also need to find a middle ground for accountability. Yes, it's okay to take these risks and to learn from their mistakes, but also they need to understand that they need to be striving for some kind of goal, and getting leadership involved and providing an ends and a means will help with that. But they need to be held responsible if they're not taking initiative. If they're just kind of throwing things out into the wind just to see what sticks, that's not okay. They need to be held responsible for those actions. What should be okay is making a mistake if you think it's the best option for the team at the time. You go out on a limb and it doesn't work out. There shouldn't be penalty for that, especially in this particular industry, which the company's already really good at. But they do need to kind of push, especially with fiber optics, who's in such disarray. They need to introduce consequences for lack of effort, because once they define the ends, it's up to the employees to actually strive to get there. As far as motivation goes, the new leader will be primarily responsible for introducing that motivation. One thing we've learned throughout this course is that one of the responsibilities of a leader is to be a motivator. And that motivation is going to lead to a better workplace culture, which means people are going to buy into the company, and they're going to be more involved, and they're going to be more engaged, and they're going to strive to not only get to that ends, but they're going to strive to do it well. Number 4 there is really important to understand, though. change within a company is slow. It does not happen right away. So when they go to create, when executives go in and they start meddling, they can't expect immediate results. This team is in very extreme disarray, so it's going to take a while to get to the point where they can see the results they want to. And they also need to let this new leader come in and take control. And it's going to take time for the team to warm up to the leader, for the leader to warm up to the team, for them to move as one cohesive unit. So just remember that as they make this change, it's going to be slow. I put all of my sites for this presentation here in this slide. The video from all of it came from the reading from the past couple weeks, except for the video from Sinet. It's an excellent video. I definitely encourage any viewer who has not seen that video to take a look at that. A lot of great stuff there. But overall, my final suggestions: get better leaders and get them motivated. Thank you.